back now. Um, Holler, if you can hear me. But I think the go ahead is there. Yeah. Just waiting for everyone to load into the lobby, so we're just stuck on this like awkward waiting scene, guys. Please. Apologies for the delays, but let's just have some patience and hopefully we will see some good racing after that enthralling qualifying. The too long didn't read version is a dry quali. It's an Aston Martin 1-2 and Easy Bot is in third. So let's just wait and see how this all pans out, plays out, and goes. Alright, anyway, so we are off, and hopefully everyone loaded in their setups before this happened, because that would be a very awkward thing if they didn't. And as was with the last lobby, everyone's on wet tires, and so a few people, it's impossible to monitor park for me, of course. So a few people would have had the chance to change onto the wet setup. That is the only advantage that they get. Um, Here, of course, it was a dry race. Everyone would have the benefit of having completely fresh tires. So that does benefit the front runners, and it does benefit the front runners here as well. But necessarily, we don't know who the front runners are, even though we can see the grid order already. Because some people might be faster in the rain, some people might be slower in the rain. Might not have the confidence of certain others. So let's all just sit back, relax, and let ourselves go. And let's see what the scenario is. Yeah, let's just listen into these cars for some time as we it really hyped it up to all that it could. As we see Smith Shaw, interestingly, as I was just about to stop talking, he's absolutely blitzing it through this formation lap. Of course, tire was not going to play that important of a factor into this, because anyway there's lesser tire wear in the rain. Um, So if it was heavy rain the entire race through, I'm pretty sure somebody would even try no stopping. But I have a feeling that it won't be, since already I can see uh, it's not heavy enough to the point where the screen is filling in. I want to go into the back of someone. You can see from Hazard here that the spray is not even that bad. He can still clearly see Malav ahead of him in that Ferrari. So no, we just wait for the calm before the storm. Manan, who joined, starting from the back because he joined late. Um, Unfortunately, we have lost Captain Hinkle, who time constraints didn't allow him to race for this one. So everyone behind him has been moved up a grid slot. If you're confused if you're joining from the last lobby, but Manan did join in mid quali and he didn't set a lap, so he does start from the back. He will have full knowledge it was a wet race. Manan originally didn't plan to race this race, but you know that's how life goes sometimes. And the game says you can even do two stops. I hardly think if the race was fully wet anyone would do two stops, but that's now the search for a good camera angle goes as we are ready for the race start. Come on, police, do not disappoint me. Where is the good camera? Yeah, here we go. 3, 4, 5, red lights. Lights out and away we go. It seems to be a good start for Smith Shah. I think it's an even start between the Astons. He's going to try and cover off Thakurva. Hopefully, can he keep it in deep? And Thakurva's run into easy level pot on the inside. They're already carnage, and you can see them just sort of flailing out in that mid pack. Immediately at La Source itself, we have an incident that will not bode well for both of their six. I hope they don't have damage, because it would be very unfortunate, and now a lot of guys would be desperate to get moves done, because they know as the laps go on it'll be tougher to get these moves done. Legend Rhino on the outside of Malav, you can beat me. It goes side by side. It's nearly 4 wide through there. The Williams of Duncan tries to make a move, but that was never on. In my opinion, meanwhile, Manan's made up 6 places, 7 places. If he keeps battling with intake, he's been run wide out of road, but he does keep it for now as Smith Shah charges away up front. And I definitely think Thakur has some damage on that car because he will not be going this slow if he didn't. And Naismith is driving very slow. Does he have damage? I don't know. Dunkin' Donuts. So luckily, no one DNF, and neither was there a VSC or a safety car. So incidents were there, but they were basically kept to a restraint. And now Thakurva is gonna get gobbled up here. One of the easier tracks to overtake, even in the rain, because there's so many straights here, and all of them are followed. All of them are preceded by these sweeping turns that require a lot of front downforce. So if you have a broken front wing, it's going to be very difficult for you to keep a position. However, we did see that Thakur was clearly one of the fastest guys in the straight line last time around. So it should not be that tough. And Legend Rhino was just exceeding track limits on that one. Meanwhile, now Hazza, is he gonna pull the switchback of dreams on Thakurva? Oh, ooh, that there's some contact and Hazza spun. Oh no, that is not good news for the McLaren driver. Hopefully, it doesn't reset to track. It is a nice sportsmanship here. He's letting everyone go, waiting for clearing, but everyone's so close together. It's kind of tough to find one. And a lot of cars with damage now pitting. Quick killer onwards. I think everyone had damage and Hazza spun, trying to reclaim his car. Hopefully he can get it turned fast enough because the game will disqualify you if you're not careful. Meanwhile, Naismith gets a 5 seconds of speeding in the pit lane. Everyone goes to Oruj safely this time around, and Abhi now on the back of Indic Gamer. It's going to be tough. No DRS, of course, in the rain. So let's see now how risky is he willing to play it. He plays it safe for now. He's relying on Indic to make a mistake, which is definitely a smart play. Relying on others to make mistakes is definitely, I think, a play that some people should be utilizing. It's something that people should be utilizing more than actually going for overtakes, because in the wet it is easier to make mistakes, and relying on the pressure to get the other guys to make mistakes. Meanwhile, Smith's way out in front right now. Thakurva in second. He seems to have a decent gap from Sid Venkatesh. As we have yellow flag in sector 2. Who is that? That's quick killer spun around. Ooh, that is not good for the man who is second in this championship. Well, Chips, what a recovery. He's already up to P6 from that quali ban. So let's just see how many positions people have gained. Chips has gained 11 positions. That is very, very impressive. Manan has gained 8 so far in his chart. So these two are the big charges of the green belt. Easy level, but due to the collision is the big loser, as well as Dunkin' Donuts, who was 8th and is now all the way at the back. And you can see Smith has just more confidence in Thakurva right now. He's taking chunks out of his lap time right now. He does 2:01. What does Thakurva do? He does a 2 minutes. So he did go faster through that lap, but it would take a lot right now for Thakurva to try and gain back the time. Meanwhile, Chips and Malav now going at it, hammer and tons. Chips tried to get the switchback, but Malav just too good on the exit to try and lose position. Chips, now Malav, oh, that was a heavy lift off. You can see Chips is definitely more confident up Oruj because he barely lifted. That's going to allow him the chance to go to try for this overtake here, and hopefully they can keep it clean through here. They do, and he's hoping that Malav runs deep, but Malav, he had that one scouted. Meanwhile, up ahead, Abhi is still stalking Indic Gamer. So I think we're now in that phase, that bit of a lull phase, where nothing really is gonna happen. It's gonna be mistakes that will be exclamated here, because it's tougher to gain back the time. Anyway, but what's happening here? Naismith has got up to the back of Abdul Samad, and it should be an easy move. Abdul Samad definitely feeling his way through the conditions, as even Dunkin' Donuts probably they think you can get him. Hopefully Abdul Samad doesn't have damage, because he probably should have picked if he did. And Smith and Thakur, I think they just keep exchanging sector times, because one of them is quicker through certain parts of the track and the other one through the other parts. But nothing really much happening right now, as Haza in 15th is the first person to get a 3 seconds, I think. No, it was Vintage Player earlier who did get a 3 seconds. So, what's happening here? What does Smith do now? I think the track is improving every lap, so we should see a fastest lap near every lap from the front runners. And I think Thakurwal just went too deep into the last corner because he lost like half a second from that timing delta. What's happened to Indic Gamer? He has spun, and so has Kalyan Verma. They both decided to do it at the same time, which it does look quite comical. I am gonna say that. I'm Vintage Player trying to get something done on my own, but people are just giving exits too great. And Manan, this man has eaten something today. He is so on the charge right now. But can he keep the car away from the walls and pointing in the right direction as well? That's another thing. If he just cleaned up on those mistakes, he could be a very, very, very consistent driver. But so far, nothing really much happening at the front. This is really the battle. What's happened at the back? Duncan spun on that last corner. That last corner, the exit of our stop, proving to be a pain. And oh, he spun again. Just trying to get the heat up. The tires get overheated so quickly here that you just have no way to recalibrate after you spun once. And that's why you're seeing a lot of these guys spin twice after they commit that initial spin. Meanwhile, Sid Venkatesh now is faster than Thakurva. But every time this happens, Thakurva just manages to gain a tenth or two, but now he's losing out. And it's just good news for Smith and good news for Sid Venkatesh as well, because he is definitely closing up. Meanwhile, it's as they were line astern so far, and Manan was very, very wide there on that corner. Duncan at the back is just exiting Camel Straight, and Smith at the front is just entering bus stop, so he can't really afford that many mistakes, and because he will get lapped. And on this game, the game does not allow you to overtake under lap cars, overtake under safety cars. So once you're lapped, that is basically race over for you. So he will definitely be making sure, Duncan, that he keeps himself in the game. Meanwhile, Thakurva is really struggling at that last corner. That's the second time I've seen him run very deep. And I can see that Smith is just now, he's realized how much of a gap he has. Just take it easy. Meanwhile, URL Pradeep has overtaken easy level pod because he is pit. Does he pit for mediums? For intermediates. The wet medium tire, as you could say. No, he needs a wing change. But what tires is he going to go on? I do still see wets. So no one daring to do anything different now, and I definitely thought he would go for something different, since as the laps tick by, it's more and more difficult to try and get overtakes done. You can see Quick Killer now is on an absolute charge. He was struggling with these conditions at the beginning, but he's definitely found his groove with that 58. And easy level bot comes out just behind Quick Killer. So yeah, you got a good reference there now. You got the fastest man on track at the moment, ahead of you. It's always a good reference. Thakurva is really struggling now, and Sid Venkatesh is barreling down on him. However, he will still need Thakur to make a mistake. I think with how much straight line speed Thakur has, I really think it would definitely need to be a mistake on his end that would allow the others a chance to capitalize. But let's see now. It's basically pushing Thakurva through these sections of corners. He needs a good exit out of here, but because of the way Thakurva took that, and Thakurva has a fishtail moment, and Sid Venkatesh now, they will go side by side because Thakurva messed up. Sid Venkatesh on the grass, he hit that thing as he broke in his wing. I don't know, but that's gonna allow Legit Rhino the chance of an overtake. No, he will not get it done. And will Legit Rhino go for the move? Thakurva once again goes so deep into the corner, but that's made Sid Venkatesh go in deep as well, which means that everyone else now will have a chance to overtake him. So you go for a risk, and it almost ends up biting you the wrong way. Abhi, meanwhile, is tried the same thing on Mayank. Lesser cars in that gaggle, so it's easier for them to negotiate their lines without running over each other, tripping each other's shoes. We're on lap 6 now, and all that's done really is allow Sid Venkat, allow Smith, and Malav just absolutely pile drives up Eau Rouge, and that will be our first safety car. That was an absolute horror crash right there. That is a Lando Norris moment. And we saw it live here. He's just lost all drive there. And the rear's kicked out from him, and he's hit that wall. At that point, there's nothing really you can do. And that is going to allow the field to catch up. So just as soon as I say that Thakur was going really slow, to keep up with the delta, but didn't really endanger anyone. So that should be fine. That was definitely a scary moment, especially if you were someone like Chupskima who's right behind Malav, and how he's managed to keep that car on the road, because even if the ghosting in this game works, which it doesn't sometimes, even when you turn it on, you're still gonna get spooked by that. So that's just proving why Chips is the championship leader right now. Just managed to keep his cool, and because he's kept his cool, he's now P5. So far, this is just a very interesting one, as Naismith is taken the intermediate tire gamble. He is on interest. Now, if this works, he is effectively leading the race if he can catch up to the pack, because the safety car's all the way up near Radion. So it's going to take them so long to catch up that now by the time everyone catches up, Naismith will be just behind the leaders, and if it has really turned into intermediate conditions, he is leading this race. What's happened here between Sid Venkatesh and Thakur? What is Thakur doing here? It's very weird. That I don't understand, but okay. And Thakur gets a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flag. I think Sid Venkatesh might have just marginally overtaken him at some point of that lap. So that's up to the judge to decide, because I didn't even catch the incident. As Indy Gamer now pits, so he's also going on the intermediate tire gamble, I think, and definitely you can see from just the raindrops itself how light it's become. But he goes on wets. That's something I don't understand. Naismith, I think he's called it an absolute perfection. It's not even raining that much anymore. Can I see the spray of a car from behind? And leaders didn't pit. Yet there's barely any spray. So I think Naismith, who's actually 18th, is actually first right now on track, because everyone else has to pit, and the people who are pitting are still going on wets for some reason. I just don't understand that. Very confusing. But if Naismith has done this, I think this would be if we had an award called strategical move of the year, and Quick Killer now, I think he's seen it. I think he's seen that Naismith thing. So I think Quick Killer and Naismith, they've called it absolutely on the money with their tire choice. Now I think the guys in 16th and 18th right now are first and second. And Smith's caught up to the safety car now, so he cannot pit and retain his lead. It's such a long track. If it was like a normal length track, like say a China or something, for instance, you would still be able to do what Smith was doing, take that extra lap of caution and come out in first. But I don't think he can do that anymore. So that just goes to show. But I think he will have to punch these guys a bit. I think Quick Killer is now basically leading. For Smith, he is getting slowed down by the safety car, and especially if the safety car comes in this lap now, it's going to be an even worse news for Smith Shah. Or shucks, if you're a true username grammar phobe. And my oh my, this is why we love interchangeable races, how quickly it can turn. A couple of laps ago, Smith Shah was on top of the world. Now we watch Quick Killer and we watch Smith Shah. Quick Killer now is just about entering this final straight, and I think everyone is gonna dive into the pits now. There is really no reason to stay out, and this is gonna be bad for Thakur. Wow, and he's gonna have to stay out. I think he should have pit in anyway, because his 5 seconds would have gotten removed in the pits, and he was gonna get held up anyway. Now he has to do an extra lap of pain. Now we're gonna follow Smith Shah. Where is he gonna come out? I think Quick Killer is in the lead. Abdul Samad, very, very weird there. He decides not to pit even though he's on wets. Quick Killer going side by side with him. Where is Smith? Smith is just coming out, so I think he's just about to retain the lead. Yes, he has just about. So, Quick Killer still, it was an absolutely correct call for him, from him. He was 16, and now he is first, second, third, basically fourth, because Abdul Samad is not on the correct tire and he almost crashes through Rouge as well because the tires will be overheating now, and this is under safety car. So I really don't understand. Do these guys think that the dry period is on the way and they can just ride out these wet tires, which is still the wrong decision because you're still gonna lose around 8 to around 5 seconds a lap every lap that it's still intermediate conditions. So in terms of the order now, Chips Chima has done an absolutely brilliant job. He's gotten himself involved with the front pack really early, which was probably going to be the toughest part of his day. And because of that, he is now basically third. Because the top three have to pit. There is no way you can stay on wets on this damn track now. Look at that, there's barely any spray. And now it'll be interesting to see how Thakurva lines up the safety car restart. Because safety car is definitely going to be in this lap. Look at how close everyone is, and if it's not, that is just even more of a disadvantage for the wet tire runners. And yes, it is in this lap, so we'll watch from Pradeep's POV how Thakurva goes about this. He's going to have to be very smart, and I think these three guys are going to have to team up together to try and hold back the run of these intermediate tire runners. I really don't see any way in which it's gonna end well for these guys, but this is racing. Anything can happen on a racetrack. And Thakurva is just trickling the car along. Now safety car is about to enter pit lane. He can't go yet, and I think he's gone, so there's a brilliant safety car restart if he has gone, but then he's overshot the corner again, so that's just something in his setup that's not really paying him any dividends. And fairly unchaotic start so far. However, it's gonna be this ascent through Eau Rouge that everyone will be interested in as Vintage Player overtakes Sid Venkatesh, and Naismith's retired. I don't see what's happened. I think he just spun it on the last corner. But let's watch the medium wet tire runners take Eau Rouge, and let's see how much time they lose to Naismith Shah, who definitely, yes, I think that's what happened with Naismith. Look at his car there on the track map where the yellow flags are. He's just binned it. It's not good news, especially when he called such a good strategy call. You hate to see it end like that. And Duncan Donuts goes past Kalyan Verma, so Duncan, he didn't have the best of starts to this race, but this is effectively a second race now. And there's still a long way to go. We're only on lap 9. Meanwhile, Hazza going on the overtake on URL Pradeep. Look at that. Smith Shah just sweeps it around the outside. That's how much of an advantage these guys have. Legit Rhino now, he's gonna have to try and make this overtake. Well, can he make it through Puon? That will be very, very special if he did. And yes, he does. He really just sticks his car in there. And he knows that Pradeep will have to back out because he has no grip left to fight that. Chips also now takes advantage of that. Look at the wet tire runners. Pradeep just cannot compete, and he's being pushed aside now basically to get these moves done. Now Smith has closed all the way up to Hazza and Thakurva, and I think these guys are definitely regretting it now, as I thought that was somebody skidding off there. I definitely heard the sound of gravel. It was Abdul Samad, I think. So he's kept it running, so I think he's just had a bit of a moment there, and he's kept the car in touch. Hazza goes very, very wide off track there, so I don't see how that's gonna benefit him. They cannot break as late as these guys. He's run into the back of Thakurva trying to keep position. It's a 6 wide train, and that is one of the weirdest pit entries I've seen. What was that? That is a 6-car pile up at first stop chicane. How has that happened? But in all of this, Quick Killer is somehow now second. Oh, I spoke too soon. Takurova trying to make it work, but he just doesn't have it on the tires anymore. And I really think he needs to let these people aside now and just accept the loss, because there's still longer to go in this race, and it might turn out better for him towards the latter stages. And ooh, that is a good save. That is a good save. But always with that was said, that was a very good save. Now he has to get out of the way, and look at that. Just because you stay out, you lose so many positions. And if he just went in when Smith did, remember one thing now is that he will have to, chips on the inside of Lecce Trino, and now the overtakes Lecce Trino can't make the corner, and ooh, that is gonna be, you're basically getting swallowed up at this point if you're making a mistake. And oh, what's happened to Mayank? I think he had to back out there because we were already going 3 wide. I saw that earlier. It's entertaining. I think I've seen more moves in this wet race than I have ever seen in any other wet race. So that is definitely, and somehow URL Pradeep's gained positions now, even though he was on wet. So not the tire to be on, Manan. He has to be smarter through there. Thakur down to 13th. He began this lap in P2. Manan meanwhile has passed Pradeep. Everyone, just look at the grip these guys have. Meanwhile, how's this happened? It's Smith, Quick Killer and Chips. The cream rising to the crop here. In the challenge of those overtakes, I think Pradeep's gone wide. Someone has spun off. In all of this, there's another yellow flag through here. There's a slow-moving Williams on Mayank, so I think he's had a moment. Not really sure, but yeah, and that's just saying out that extra lap, because remember, Takuro will have to serve that 5 seconds penalty as well now when he comes into the pits to pit. If he'd just gone in under the safety car, I'm sure he would have lost time to his teammate, but he would have still been in the top 10 easily. And he gets to stay out. He's staying out. Legend trying to meanwhile pit. I think he was the one who suffered the most from that pile-up at bus stop chicane on the previous lap. Meanwhile, Quick Killer is rapid. Look at that. He's catching up to Smith. And then Smith put on a wet setup here. So the lighter it gets, Quick Killer. And he's got nothing to... he has got the championship to lose. But in terms of this race, he can just push it right now. Because he does have to make a 3-second gap after he gets his overtake done as well. Well, Dunkin' Donuts just clearing them out right now. You can definitely see who has confidence in their ability right now to turn these cars through these corners. It's just ooh, wow. I think we need a bit of a sit down after those last 2 laps. But meanwhile, Chips, he's not going to take any risk. Chips is a smart driver, and it's the smartest have gotten him in to the positions that he has been in. Where Pradeep's overtaken Thakurva, and I think it's time these guys bite the bullet and pit for wets. Pit for intermediates, because nothing's going to come from this. I think Duncan Donuts made a mistake, and he's been overtaken through Puan. I've seen like 5 overtakes through Puan in the last 2 laps. These guys are playing with these guys just can turn traction control on and off, it seems like. There's just so much confidence in the car, and look at that, Thakurva, he's losing so much time. Wow. Halfway through this race, and the way it's going, it's looking good for Smith, who, as long as he can keep track position, I really don't think Quick Killer will have a chance. And Quick Killer can't risk as much as well because they have Chip Schema right behind them, who sets the fastest lap of the race. So I think these 3 are just marginally quicker than Vintage Player right now. I think Vintage Player and Sid and Abhi are all running at the same pace. I think from 4th to 7th it's running at the same pace, and the top 3 are running at a different pace. You can see how easy through Orush Smith-Shah is taking it, because he quickly closes up, but he knows without DRS he will never be caught up, Smith, as Hazard sets the fastest lap of the race. And Smith does seem to be struggling, but he's not by enough for Quick Killer to try and stick a wheel up there. Meanwhile, Dunkin' Donuts are once again on Kalyan Verma. I think he's had to go for this place a couple of times by this point, and for the last points paying position as well. So both of these guys will have to be careful. Kalyan Verma on the inside, on the outside through there, and very respectful racing there. As there's a yellow flag now. What's happened here? It's Indik. Oh no, Indik game was spun it. He was in such a good position. He was just behind Manan in P7. That is not good. And that is a safety car for debris on track. Oh, I would not be happy if I was the race leader in this scenario. Meanwhile, in all of that, off camera, Thakur did pit for intermediate, so thus proving that he does watch these streams. URL Pradeep, meanwhile, he's still out on welts, but I think he'll get a chance to pit for intermediates now. So, in a way, that's actually kind of ended up biting Thakur backwards because he just pits as the safety car comes out. But I think for now, he'll just be happy to be on the correct tire compound. Now, I think we should have a lesser chaotic start than we did last time, simply because there's lesser cars here. Because all of the cars are on the same tire compound, so we're not going to see that many differences. And I think Indie Game has been saved here, to be honest, considering how rare it is when the game calls a safety car for debris on track. I myself have fallen both victim to it and been the beneficiary of it, so you do feel kind of helped out by the game when this does happen. So I think he should take that second chance with both hands. Meanwhile, the pits are in. I heard a big lock up there from Indian Gamer. You can hear that from Rouge. That's how heavy locked up. And now everything's equalized again, and now we're set for another mini race. This is normally what ends up happening in wet weather conditions. It's not the whole 22 lap race. It's basically divided into segments. The races of 3 segments of like 7-8 laps, or 4 segments of 5-6 laps, something like that all the time. Well, Indie Gamer does come out just ahead of Thakur. I think he took it. No, he didn't. If he had gotten him before Indie Gamer, when Indie Gamer was still on those pit lines, he would have been able to keep that position. We saw it with Carlos Sainz and Sergio Perez in Jeddah, but for Indie Gamer's sake, luckily he just about crossed past the pit lane line before Thakur could overtake him. So Thakur had to give that position back. What must the race leader be thinking? There have been so many incidents so far, and you really have to feel for Smith if he doesn't take this home now, as Legit Rhino gets 3 seconds under a safety car. I don't understand how he's done that, but okay. Smith, he knows that he has the pace, but does he have the confidence in his car anymore? Because I've seen him lift off a lot at Rouge recently, and that basically negates all of the advantage that you have with his setup. Because no matter, even if he gains a second a lap throughout the rest of the lap, he's losing near 2 seconds in intermediate conditions if you're not taking Rouge as flat as the other guy behind you, because you have to go that entire camel straight with lesser momentum, and you're not going to hit the speed that the other guy is hitting, especially if you're running higher wings as well. So you already when going to hit your max top speed is already lesser than the other guy, and then you're just handicapping yourself. I think now everyone will just be glad to get some racing underway, but we'll have to go for another lap. So let's just see what this situation is like. It still seems incredibly intermediate to me. If there were to be a weather change, this game can be quite deceptive with its weather changes though. So never take this game for granted. It could literally be dry by lap 17. I prefer not to look at the weather charts even in a lobby restart, but I want to be as out of the know as the audience out there. So I really have no clue as to what the weather will turn into, and if they did tell me during the lobby restart thing, I have forgotten. So it's gonna be intriguing whether one of the guys behind the pack, if it does end up drying out, will switch to dry tires. Not right now, like you can see it, how glistening the track is basically covered in. Not covered in what is this damp. You can see the tracks of the glistening. You can see the shadows of the trees on the tarmac. So that should just tell you that it's not dry enough yet. It's still raining, so that should be the biggest giveaway anyway to anyone who wants to pit. But we're almost through now with this third safety car. As everyone has caught up relatively. It's not that big of a field spread here. It's an Aston Martin sandwich for the rest of the grid right now. First and at the back. First from the first and first from the last. Let's see what happens. I think it's around a 17-second time difference if you look at the sector times between Takuro and Smick. And safety car is in this lap, so we go on board with Quick Killer to see what Smick is going to do at the start. You're wondering, is he going to go early, is he going to go late? And the one bad thing for the leader here is that you do have the bus stop to act as your guide because it's such a low traction zone, but you kind of have to give your strategy away very soon if you're going to start from here, because you're going to, of course, let the safety car go very far ahead if you want to straight line it from this point on. He's playing it cheeky right now. He knows that it'll be very tough for him, for Quick Killer to judge the exact point he's going to push at the exit of this bus stop. Quick Killer, for his efforts, he did do a very clean. That was a very good one. Smith has spun. They got me, son. Oh no, that is a choke job moment of the week right there. I don't know how he's managed to do that, especially since he was the one controlling the race and could have taken it even to the finish line if he had a moment. So that is just a very noob moment there from Smith Shah. And now the championship top two are the actual top two. Meanwhile, oh my god, that was legitimately, I felt scared there for Takuma as URL Pradeep loses it on the outside exit curb and almost slams into it. That would have been one of the saddest ways I've ever seen someone DNF. It's actually quite funny, but luckily I was able to avoid it without losing any time as well. But yeah. So far, now that Smith is basically out of the equation, luckily I think he didn't crash into the walls here, no damage. But Easy Level Pod and Dunkin' Donuts, they've carried on this story. And once again, Kalyan Verma and Dunkin' Donuts. Oh, this is close. Duncan's gone very, very deep to try and retain position. It's going to allow Mayank also a chance. He goes through Puan. Surprisingly, every overtake shooter has been clean so far, and I definitely expected that to be an incident hotspot, but then again no one expects the bus stop chicane to be an incident hotspot, and that has definitely been one so far. And now I think these two are just trying to pull away from Vintage Player. We saw how well Chips and listen, I don't remember if it was the house of Captain Hinkle or Quick Killer back then worked to effectively catch up a gap to Vintage Player, who was the runaway leader, while not fighting each other and just taking each other's DRS as man gets 3 seconds to make sure that they could be in the fight for the win rather than in an empty fight for P2. Meanwhile, Manan has now overtaken Abhi, who is gambling. He is definitely going on tries, and I have just noticed it has stopped raining. If this works, Abhi will gain around 3 to 4 seconds a lap, so he could shoot himself right up into podium contention if he has timed this move to perfection. And you can see definitely at the back, everyone's pitting. This is why we love Formula 1 in interchangeable conditions. You never know. And of course the guys at the front don't want to take the risk. But if you're outside Abhi wasn't even outside the point, so we'll have to give credit to him for risking it all. Now let's watch his run through Eau Rouge and see what happens. Is that a safety car? What's happened to Dunkin' Donuts? He's spun. I think the game has glitched him onto intermediate tires because there's no reason for him to not be on sauce. Easy level spun as well up Eau Rouge, so maybe it isn't time for Dries just yet. And have they thrown away a result now? It can work both ways. But so far, if you started from the back in this race, you're feeling quite good with yourself. We have Quick Killer who's getting 15 positions. Chips Chima who's getting 15 positions. Vintage Player who's getting 11. Sid Venkatesh, the consistent man who's stayed P4 and who's getting 14. Kalyan Verma in 6 who's getting 9 positions. So you can just see what the interchangeable conditions do to racing. Meanwhile, Mayank, as I speak of Kalyan Verma, he tries to dive it up the inside and he's bending, make contact. Oh no! That is a bro moment right there. I have no other way to describe it. Quick Killer runs wide off track and Abhi, look at this. He is setting purple sectors. It is time. Will the leaders spin? Yes, they do. Where is Abhi going to come out in relation to those leading cars? So maybe it's been called right all along. Maybe Abhi just had to take it easy through sector 1. He is definitely in a very good position right now. The leaders, I think he's Quick Killer's just going to enter his pit box. He hasn't even entered it yet. Abhi is taking first off chicane. It's going to be very, very close. Has Abhi just managed to mug? Someone's crashed into the pit lane. If you heard that, yes, he has. He's easily going to be leading. I think, yes, Abhi shoots up to the top with that gamble. It's going to be side-by-side racing with Chips, but Chips going to have no momentum going up through Eau Rouge. And soon enough, we are going to see DRS. I missed the DRS enabled message. And Chips, he's going to have to take it easy on the first lap. Quick Killer has lost a bunch of positions in the pit, so maybe he was the one who hit that barrier. But now, Abhi from being in contention for top 5 has shot himself into victory contention, and DRS is on now. So that is a brilliant gamble from Abhi, and let's see now whether he can make it work. He's been a very shrewd operator this season. And Chips will know that right now Abhi is not really into the title plans. And if he can take a P2 in such a chaotic race, he will probably take it. Meanwhile, Quick Killer goes up the inside of Sid Venkatesh for the overtake. Sid Venkatesh right now is looking handy though to finish within 3 seconds of Quick Killer. And the penalty situation right now, yes, Vintage and Quick Killer both have 3 seconds. So can Sid Venkatesh still get onto the podium? Ooh, racing is a beautiful thing. Malav, I think I don't know when you sent me that message, but yeah, we're on lap 17 now. So either your stream is lagging or I'm reading that late, but whatever it is. Sad that you did DNF in the way that you. I think someone who knows conditions like you would have been able to mug something very big in this race. But Chips, he definitely seems to have the pace on up here, but now he doesn't want to overtake through here. Everyone knows if you overtake through there, you're just going to get mugged on the next DRS zone. Meanwhile, Abhi, he will have to be tactical about it. He knows that everyone behind Chips has a time penalty. So if he can finish second from when he looked like he would finish 5th, that is definitely a position that he would be willing to take. Now, how much does he defend this will really tell us the tale, and he really doesn't. So, I have a bit of a noob moment on commentary as I go to Duncan Jones, 39 seconds behind. In fact, I'm not really fighting with anyone, and something is definitely wrong with Sid Venkatesh's car because he's getting gobbled up right now. And maybe he's just put on a wet setup, and Manan now goes into the top 5. This is epic. They're absolutely epic. Man, it's Chips Chima. He is firing up now. He's seen the clear air. The man gets another 3-second time penalty right at the end. That's not going to be doing any. To be fair to him, he's probably only going to lose this one position to Sid Venkatesh. But if he keeps driving like this, Sid, Manan still might be able to keep that P5 because everyone behind has more penalties. And Sid is really struggling. He's lost a second and a half. And he's on softs as well, so I think he must have some damage. He's lost 2 seconds nearly. Now, Mina Chips Chima, he's flying. He's nearly almost out of DRS zone, but this is now the disadvantage here. Look at that. Abhi just casually gains the 3/10. That he's around 3/10 just being in slipstream of Chips. He'll definitely need to break this toe if he's really going to secure that lead. As Chips does set the fastest lap, but look at that. Abhi, his closes up so much because of that DRS. Yeah, look at this. He is now right on the back again, and they'll now come down to ERS conservation. Who can conserve better? to have the chance through the last few laps. And Quick Killer now, he's began his assault, and I think he's trying to consolidate at P3, get that last spot on the podium. I don't think he's going to be close enough to challenge the leaders. And even if he did overtake the leaders, it would be very, very tough for him to gain that 3 seconds in just 4 laps. So, meanwhile, as I said earlier, I'm 2 laps late on this, but look at how sunny it is now. On lap 14, we were in heavy rain and Quick Killer got 3 seconds, but I think that was while battling, so that might be a bit contentious as to what it actually was. But Chips, meanwhile, up front has managed to keep this lead. He needs to have second sectors of his life to get away from Abhi and that 1 second window. And Abhi, meanwhile, he's been saving this. I'm pretty sure he's had this dry setup cooked up for these last few laps, taking a gamble. It's paid off. Meanwhile, Sid Venkat is very far behind now, and Manan and Easy Level Bot will be battling for that P5 soon enough. Smith Shah, meanwhile, is P12. Can he get into the... He is looking on course for some points. Still, who was that who spun just now? It's Indic Gamer and Kalyan Verma. Just as soon as I was speaking about it, that promotes Smith Shah up into the points for now. Meanwhile, look at Abhi. He's just so much faster in a straight line. It is actually a bit disheartening if you're Smith. This isn't F1, this isn't a 2022 game where it's Ferrari engine versus Mercedes engine with that power difference. So, it's really going to be troubling for Smith, for Chips. Oh, who's gone very deep into that corner. And, they're trying to play DRS games here. And that can almost backfire on you there. That's very, very close. But keep it all clean, all fair. But because he tried to play DRS games, he's basically going to have no defense for this overtake now up through Camel Straight. 3 laps left. Is this the move? Is it on? No, Chips. I think Abhi doesn't want to overtake him right now. The Quick Killer does get past. So does the Vintage Land. So does Easy Level Bot on Manan. It's been a brilliant drive from Manan, I must say. Starting from the back, joining with like 10 minutes of forward. He will be getting yellow flag for that. But oh, what have I just seen? Oh, that's just a Mercedes pit crew. But this is absolutely epic. And I said Quick Killer can't actually win this race, but he can help Abhi try and win this race, because the more he does that, the more points are getting taken off of Chips at the end of the day, and that is your title rival. So if you can, whatever you do, because Quick Killer is absolutely flying. He's getting a second on these guys in 1 lap. Let's compare the sector test. 118.6. And Quick Killer's done, okay, it's just gone past. That's the FOM brilliance right there. I'm pretty sure it's around 8 tenths quicker. What has happened to Sid Venkatesh? He's just got no pace. He must have damage, but even with minor end plate damage, you should not be losing out that much. Maybe he has like underbody damage or something, or sideboard damage. Can't tell visually. And once again now, I think Quick Killer is just going to try and make things easy for Abhi to try and take a win. And Quick Killer almost spins it, but he's got it. Oh, that is the Carbon Kamal. It's an IPL throwback. That is the Carbon Kamal save of the match, of the race, I must say. Oh, Sector 3, what's happened here? Who is that? That's Abdul Samad. Oh my god, he was flying and he was in the air. That's not good news. He was in the points. That's allowed Thakurwa to sneak in there. Meanwhile, Abhi was the Chips again. This time Chips is a bit further clear as Abdul Samad is still trying to come back on track. Sid Venkatesh pits, I think that will be to retire. There's nothing much he's gonna do anyway because he's outside the points and he's not looking likely to get in. Has Abhi left it too late? But he's definitely faster than Chips in a straight line, but the more the tires go, the more advantageous it is for the guy who's running more wing, because he's still getting the grip. That necessarily, if you're running a more straight line favorable setup, you're not getting that as the tires wear out. Of course, the downside is that the tires would be wearing out faster for Chips, but given it was only like a 5-lap sprint, that really shouldn't matter. You can see through these medium and low speed, through the medium and high speed corners, Abhi is faster, but Chips is just much better in the low speeds. It's more like a Ferrari Red Bull comparison in real life right now. What we're seeing, that the Ferrari is just so much quicker in the low speed corners, but everywhere else Red Bull has them basically for toast, but because that one area is accentuated so much, it's very, very difficult to actually run away. And look at that, Abhi's gained 6 tenths in the straight without DRS. That should just tell you how much This man is absolutely pushing it. Now the 3 DRS zones. Abhi's gonna have to try for something. I think he can definitely go for a move. This is gonna have to be a clean corner, and I think Quick Killer, he's gonna try and nudge him along maybe. But I think it's gonna be a bit disheartening. Maybe if he didn't get those penalties, he would have tried to try and get chips on this last lap. But I don't really think Abhi's gonna be close enough. In fact, he's gonna have to defend from Quick Killer. But I don't think Quick Killer necessarily wanted to even do the overtake because he wanted Abhi to challenge Chips. But he's just gonna have to manufacture something out of this now, Quick Killer. Now there's a man in the middle. He's in a very awkward situation, I want to say, in that he's not gonna win this race, but he has to try and make sure that points are taken off of the leader. The man of the hour right now, Chips Chima, who's basically doing a last to first. Once again, we go to position change. As who is that who spun? That is Indie Gamer again. So this guy's setups are just not working on this track. Look at how close Quick Killer is to Chips. He goes, they're trying to go side by side through these section of corners. And Chips, he's trying to defend the hardest he can. This is all allowing Abhi to catch up. And this is definitely some very, very, very championship critical moments here. Is Abhi going to have a run on Chips on the last lap, the last corner? Is there going to be a chance? Is there something on? And Quick Killer's of course going to defend Chips. He's not going to defend where Abhi is going. Abhi tries it. Quick Killer goes deep. Maybe not, but Chips, I think he's just gonna hang on. Thriller finish. Quick Killer crosses the line in P1, but Chips Chima from last. He wins. Abhi in P2 with that gamble. Vintage player P3 always manages to show up, as I said earlier. And my mamma mia, that was an absolute roller coaster. And meanwhile, Thakur rounds up the points just now. I think I need a breather. That was definitely very, very interesting. Very brilliant race management again from Chips to not get faced when Quick Killer was battling him that hard on that last lap. We knew what the purpose was of trying to attempt that, but oof, that is an enthralling race. Spa Francorchamps always manages to produce these bangers, and I hope that you stay with us right now because I will be inviting these people into party chat to have their thoughts on this race, to grab their thoughts, have a bit of an idea of what was happening through that carnage. But that is definitely very, very fun. Perhaps one of the most fun races I've commentated on. Oh. Oh, that was an absolute humdinger right there, gentlemen. But ladies and gentlemen, but let's just go through this running order. Chips Chima in first, Abhi second, Vintage Player third, Quick Killer fourth, Smith Shah fifth. That is a brilliant recovery considering where he was with just like 8 laps left. Easy about sixth, Manan seventh from all the way back. So the guys starting at the back doing a very good job here. Even though it should technically apply to their disadvantage with the lobby restart. Haza in 8th, Legit Rhino 9th, Thakurwa in 10th, he rounds off the points finishes. Mayank in 11th, Kalyan Verma 12th, Sid Venkatesh 13th, Indie Gamer 14th, Duncan Tones 15th, Abdul Samad 16th, and then we have the non-finishes in Pradeep, Naismith and Malav. You can beat me 6810 in 19th. Ooh, I think that has to be in contention for race of the season. Anyway, I think Abhi's here, and Abhi,
Yes, are you inviting Vintage?
Yeah, I think it's always an issue with me and him, so I can't invite him
Okay,
on
I'll
party.
invite him.
Can
I'll
you?
invite
Yeah, can you just please invite him? Thank you. We'll just wait for him to join up, and I've invited Chips as well, so now the lobby is glitched out. But thankfully, another thing is that there were no DCs that I could see from commentating. So hopefully that was the case for the drivers as well. But that is an absolute belter of a race right there. It was never boring. I can hardly say that about any league races, except for the safety car period. But of course, if you're driving under safety car, it's always going to be boring because you're not driving at racing speed. But yeah, it's waiting for the others to join up. Alrighty, I think everyone is here. So, luckily for the first time in a long time, I think I can actually show the showroom when I'm commentating. So, GG's guys, all of you, definitely well earned. Vintage, you P3, you kind of slipped under the radar there for most of the race. We didn't even notice you, but you're kind of holding firm with where your positioning was, and then that last few laps on the dries, that battle with Quick Killer, that was an intense one. As was every battle towards the end. But I think you guys kept it relatively clean, and I think you should be happy with the podium, especially in such a crazy race like that.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, congratulations to Chips and Abhi and Crazy Drive Quick Killer if you're listening. Actually, my race, before that, I'll just come to my qualifying. I couldn't put a lap in, otherwise I could have easily been P2, P3, so I'm happy with the podium right now. And for some reason, in the wets, I was really, really quick. Even after I changed my wings in the dry, I couldn't get up to pace with the other guys. And I actually wanted to pit the same lap that Abhi did, but for some reason, I turned left instead of going into the pits. That was a very good call by Abhi. Yeah, that was the race.
Yeah, definitely. I think I think I mentioned it on the previous stream in qualifying that even if he gets a bad qualifying, don't be disheartened, fans of yours. I'm sure you do have fans. Everyone does, but don't be disheartened because he always manages to turn up right when it matters. You're always somehow there, and I think that is a skill that most league races don't naturally possess. I think you've had the skill for a long time. I've seen you in enough league races now, and you're almost always there fighting for these positions, the important positions when it comes to the end of these races.
I mean, I missed talking about the first lap. The first lap was, I mean, you're from Bangalore, you'd know a chickpea reference where there's a cow here and there's a bullock cart there and everything. I mean, the first lap was just like that, and after that, me and Chips charged through the field together, and then that was it in the end.
Yeah. But anyway, we can talk about these. I can talk about with each of you individually for like half an hour about each of your respective races. But for the sake of time, we're just gonna cut to Abhi.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
P2. I think, judging from what I've seen from you in GTA on your gambling skills, I think people should just start trusting you right now. Even if it was full wets and you go on dry tires, I think you should everyone should just put on dries because you are the gambling man. You were the gambling man here, and it definitely paid off because you were at 1.5 and a lot, and I think a sufficient 2-3 seconds away from the top 3, and then to be able to fight for the win in the last few laps was a brilliant call on those tires.
Yeah, bro, thanks, man, thanks. Congrats, Chips and Vintage, bro, Sachin. Actually, I never thought I qualified on mediums. You saw that. Just because I wanted to be last, but somehow I turned up 13.
Yeah, I did see that. I didn't mention that maybe he's trolling on the stream before that.
Yeah, but people are slow. I don't know why. But I was 5 seconds away from Vintage. You were right on Inters. They were too fast. Vintage and Sid Venkatesh were in front of me. And as Vintage said, he took a right on that soft lap. I also took he took the left first. I also, after the left. Then afterwards, I took the. It was a chicane for me. So that's all. Yeah. That's the luck, bro. But following Chips was very tough. And Chips did a mistake, I think. It was his mistake, but he was eager to get into the DRS. You must have noticed.
Yeah, I did definitely notice those DRS came.
And why he did that, he slowed down, I slowed down, and we both of us lost 3 seconds to the racers behind. They were 3 seconds behind from us, and they got in just with that one straight. They gained, I think, 2 seconds. That was a big mistake, man. We would have fight along, like your DRS was helping me, my DRS was helping you get away from the pack. But good race.
I just have two questions. One, what wings were you running? Because I could see every time through like Puan, any fast corner, you would gain like 3/10 on chips just in a straight line alone. And then it would just, he would build up a gap to even 9/10 or something. And then you would just have it down to like 2/10 by the time you guys exited, went after the chemistry. So I just like to know what that was.
Just take a guess, bro. Take a guess.
I think I'm gonna guess.
I was running a
1-1.
wet setup. When I took the softs, I changed. It was like 8-8 from in the wets, and in the softs I made it 5-8. But I should have made it 4-8, but it's okay. 5-8 was okay.
I'm gonna ask Chips about this as well. But on the last few corners, how much of a chance were you willing to take with how Quick Killer was battling him? Because Quick Killer was not going to win. So were you hoping that you could maybe sneak your car just like into that last corner before Chips could turn, so you could get that, you could out drag him to the line?
You asking me or Chips?
Yeah, I'm asking. I'll ask the both of you, but for now it's your interview.
Oh,
So
I didn't want to risk it like you and Sumer Rashia, so I didn't want Vintage to get ahead of me on the last lap like that. So I was being safe. I backed out from that because Quick Killer and Chips, they were side by side. Like last straight, I could have had it if I had the speed, but I finished all my years. I was on 2%, so I backed out on the last chicane. That's it.
yeah, but nevertheless, I think definitely shows just why you need good race judgment in intermediate races, and never to trust Jeff. Importantly, good job, Abhi, with that P2. But now we must turn our attention. I really think you should record. We should just record. Like I suggested to Hushrav that he should just record all of his race interviews back to back, so you don't waste time here. Chips, I mean, what will it take to stop you at this point? Like you're last. It was wet. There's no tire advantage that you had that you can. There's barely a tire advantage in the dries here anyway, and even that was taken away. And still, you were like P5 on like lap 3 or something. So just insane. Just describe your race, because to me that was such a measured drive.
Thanks, dude. Thank you. It was a very I'll say this was possibly I'll say this. This was the most chaotic race I've done in a long time. The race start was, I have no idea what's happened there. Everyone was like so close together. I saw so many people make contact. I saw people getting hit. I was myself squeezed into when I had nowhere to go, but thankfully, I don't know how, but I escaped all of that absolute carnage without any damage. And then after a point, I really had no pace. I'm not really sure who was ahead of me. Was it Vintage? I think it was Vintage who was ahead of me. I was just trying to be, like, usually when I'm a bit aggressive, it doesn't end up well, and I get multiple reports against me by everyone. So this time I was determined not to get any reports against me. So I took it very calm and I tried to keep it clean. I hope I've kept it clean. And that was that. And if I can just get your perspective, what happened there on lap 6 after the restart? What exactly
are you referring to when there was a 7 wide pileup at bus stop chicane?
Yes, at the bus stop chicane.
I think it was just what happens when there's people on different tires during a changeable weather sequence, because the guys on wets were having to brake so early just to make that corner. That's just my viewpoint of it. And luckily for you came out of it without any damage, because at that point it's just down to like pure luck as to who's getting hit and who's not getting hit. When there's 7 cars in a place that can barely contain like 3 or 4 of them side by side, so definitely. And just a few questions for you, because you did have some very hard stopping moments. Because I remember that you were right behind Mala when he crashed up over Rouge, and you would have had very little time to react to that one.
No, I think I was far enough behind. I was lacking a bit of pace, and Malav was. I know he's a fast driver, and I was I was just trying to maintain a decent gap. If I got too close to him, which I really could not, I had no pace to get close to him. But yeah, I knew that if I would get close to him, it would either end in contact or it would end with me getting my tires too hot. So I just let it be. I
Yeah,
stay
just
behind.
second question. Did you think you had blown it when you saw Abhi was on, when you would have been notified that Abhi was on the soft tires, considering that you just come off of a safety car restart and didn't have the time to build a gap when you were on inters?
Yeah, like you mean the pit stop, the final pit
Yeah,
stop we made.
yeah.
I was hoping I come out ahead of him, but then I realized it might be better to come out behind him. And at that point, my race almost ended because I had a very scary moment up Eau Rouge,
Yeah, I did
and
notice that. I did say that he will not have the chance to battle him this lap because he will have to get those tires up to working temperature uh,
but
in
I'll
order
say
to have
that
a chance.
entire battle, Abhi, you're right here, so you are you played it to absolute perfection. You didn't let me get the upper hand, and you played it very well. That was DRS chicken, same as what Verstappen and Leclerc did in Saudi,
Yeah.
and like amazing. I know we lost some time, but well,
But
amazing.
how did I keep up to you? And I had no idea. I was like, it was my worst track, Belgium. I was too slow, like 2 seconds slow from
And
everyone.
I was actually surprised. Like you said, you were running seven. You were running 5 aero, right?
Yeah, 5-8.
I was running seven, 7-8. So I have absolutely no idea how I managed to stay ahead of you despite having
No,
more
no,
aero.
it was the mistake that you slowed down on the DRS zone to get me
Huh.
ahead of you.
Yeah, but generally also
We
with
both of
DRS,
us
like
lost 2 seconds from the guys behind us. That
yeah,
was a very big mistake.
yeah,
We would have battled till the end, but the way it came in, it was
yeah.
close ahead.
I just wanted DRS. I guess I'm a bit
We
greedy with
lost a lot
that.
of time battling Quick Killer as well.
Uh, Quick killer to Mahan also. Quick killer.
Yeah,
Wow.
6
that was
seconds
going to be
penalty
my
will be
last
first
question to you.
unasked.
Is this what I asked Afi? Were you nervous that when Quick Killer? Because Quick Killer was absolutely ripping it on those last few laps to try and. Because he is your championship rival right now. He is second, and even though he's not going to win the race, he's going to make sure that you get as few points as possible, Chip. So he's obviously going to not defend from Abhi and defend from you heading into that last corner. Were you nervous about that?
Very much. I was very nervous. I did not know what was gonna happen there. I and like I think we were side by side through. I think after Puan, we both were side by side until the end of sector 2. So that was like
Yeah, that
it
was
was
definitely
I
some
was hoping for a crash.
yeah. I have crashed here in the past on the final few stages of the race, so I was expecting something like that to happen, but I decided to just back off. I did not realize at that point that Quick Killer had the 6 seconds. I just expected that I've blown the lead on the bloody last sector. I was about to beat myself up, then I saw 6 seconds and I had some
Every
sort
corner I was hoping ये कब जाएगा, ये कब जाएगा.
of, मेरे को पूरा रेस में सोच रहा था मैं कब ठोकेगा, मैं कब स्पिन करेगा. So it was the entire race, but
All right. Well, anyway, Smith.
amazing race,
I
man.
mean, anyway, Chips.
Amazing
Not
race.
Smith. That noob spins under safety cars. Yeah, but anyway, Chips. Very good drive. Last to first. That too in a wedge. That too in a wedge start, which makes it even more special. Um, I'd say that was probably one of the drives of the season I've seen from anyone so far. But anyway, all good things must come to an end, and that race was a very good thing. But we must now head out and join us next week. There is no tier 1 race next week if all goes according to plan. We will be trying to incorporate that missed tier 2 race in Britain because there is no F1 race next week, so there shouldn't be any timing difficulties. So next week there's going to be no tier 1 race. We will have that tier 2 race at Silverstone that was missing from the calendar because of the real life Jeddah race. And that is all for now. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Very fun to watch. I think it was very stressful to drive for you guys. But anyway, any shout outs that are to be given?
Not really.
Great comms.
Quick Killer. I'll give it to Quick Killer, and of course to Comms. Yeah, I have not listened to it yet, but yeah,
Comms, bro,
Comms
comms. I've
people.
been listening him. He's not stopping. Just Saying.
Yeah,
You're on it, man.
there's nothing to think. I can't stop talking. That race was too much fun. But yeah, anyway, we will see you next week for another tier two race. Hopefully, it's as good and clean as also. For the most part, it was very clean. So thank you everyone for watching, and that is all from us in here in LOS. And that is me, Vivek, signing out as your commentator tonight. Goodbye, good night.